So, Cathi, if it's okay at this point, I'm going to ask you a few questions about your book in what I think's a fairly logical manner, so I hope so. I've had the privilege of having a little look at your book. I've now got a copy of it as well. And it's split into 7 parts. You split it into the days because, this process is a 7-day process. And we'll talk through each process, each day a little bit.
Okay.
If that's okay. Day 1, which is what I'd expect, is clutter. And this facilitates everything else. And it can be the hardest part is getting started, isn't it, for a lot of people?
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe give us a few tips and steps about what to do, because if you don't clear the clutter, you can't do everything else. And the clutter is the bit that we're attached to quite often. And this is the bit where I found once you start, oh, this feels good. And then you're on it and you can't stop and you want to give everything you own away. But it's getting started.
That's right, true, getting started. Yes, I mean, people love the idea of Feng Shui and, I can do this in my wealth area and do this in my relationship area. Oh, what do I put there? What can I put? And I'm going, well, first of all, you need to clear space. It's like starting to paint a canvas.
Yeah.
You have to paint over or get a clear canvas before you start putting out your new message.
Yeah.
You're putting out a new message, but your clutter are the old messages. Your clutter is the history. Your clutter is the state of mind that you were once in, but now you've chosen to clear that away.
Chosen, I like it, yeah.
You've chosen to clear that away because you're going to start afresh. And I can't think of a better time than the scenario we have at the moment where people are stuck at home, that this is a must if they're stuck at home, or if you're working from home, or you spend more hours at home, is to start clearing away your clutter. And I've just been filming this, so you have asked me a question about how to get started.
Yeah.
And preparation is part of that. And often anybody who's doing any kind of artwork or even painting and decorating, the first thing they have to do is get prepared. So what I ask people to do is draw a plan of the house.
Yeah.
Draw a plan of the house and get down the rooms, and in red, identify where all the clutter is. Is it in the wardrobes? Is it behind the doors? So that visually you can see, seems to me that most of it is in the bedroom. So I need to start in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Then, if you're clearing your clutter, the first port of call I say is, let go of the items that are least emotionally attached to you. Because it's easy to let go of things you don't really clothes you don't want anymore.
Yeah.
Get the bag and put it in the bag because you've got no connection.
Every waterfall starts with but one drop of water. That's just a good way of getting the wheels
That's
moving, isn't it?
It is totally, yeah. And then the other little tip is when you've got that bag full, don't leave it in the bedroom. Put it by the front door. So as you come in and out, if you're going out shopping, you can grab that bag and out it goes. Once it's out, it's not coming back again. And you can leave that with other people or give it away. So, that energy is then given away.
It's a great one, this, because a lot of people getting rid of something, they say, well, I can't get rid of that. It cost me 400 quid. Well, the cost is irrelevant. Whatever it cost you before, whether it cost you 50p or 400 quid, you can always give it to somebody. But then what they do is they can't find who to give it to, and it ends up going back in the wardrobe or whatever.
Right.
So it's making its way out the house. Get it near the front
It is
door.
true.
And it can never go back up the stairs again.
Yeah.
It's got to go that way.
And what's the cost of things that are blocking your life now?
Yeah, exactly.
These things are blocking your life now, and you want new things to come into your life. So that's some of the tips I would start off with, is draw a plan and let go of the least emotional stuff and put it by the front door. So that is easy for most people. What's the hardest things is when you're very emotionally attached to things. And then we all have to make decisions. You've got a choice. Do you feed the wolf that's actually blocking your energetic debris?
Yeah.
Or do you let go and make space for a different life where you have space to let new things into it? And if you don't make this decision now, somewhere in your life, somebody else will make that decision. And so is it not better to consciously make decisions about that stuff, even if it is expensive things, even if it is heirlooms? Let go, sell it.
Yeah, and the thing with expensive things, a good example of this is I went to Egypt and I had an expensive diving mask, and I knew when I left Egypt that it would be in a box and it could be there for 2 years, and some kids playing on the beach, and I just give it them because I wasn't. If I ever used it again, it would be 2 years down the line or a year down the line. They'd use it every day. So if you've got an expensive item, you don't want to get rid of it because it costs X, Y, Z. There'll be somebody else there, rather than being stuck in your drawer, your cupboard, that would be made up and delighted. Give it people. You
That's
didn't have to
right.
go to a tip or a bin. You can give
Yeah.
it to somebody.
Yeah,
you know.
I left all my clothes in India. And towels I used. I gave, I bought towels there.
It can be.
Yeah.
You can feel good about doing
Yeah.
it, and you're allowed.
Yeah, it does feel freeing giving away things like
Yeah,
that. It definitely does.
Day 2, we come into clearing the space. From what I've read and what I've done, this, like I say, would be me with my sage and my bell and going into the corners of the room and removing this sticky dark energy and stuff. But maybe tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I haven't really spoken about this, and I think this is one of the most important days for everybody. Doesn't matter where you live in the world, because this is about energy that gets stuck in all of our homes, and it's never eradicated. It's just stuck there. It becomes stuck energy. And then, say you move house, you move into somebody else's house, and what you're moving into are the patterns of other people's lives. And what happens is that you start living out other people's patterns.
Yeah.
So, for example, in streets or in certain houses, doesn't matter whether they're wealthy or a little bit poorer, it doesn't matter. Energy is energy. We all know that there's been suicides in very wealthy homes. There's been, murders in wealthy homes, and that energy is stuck there. And unless somebody who is aware of space cleansing goes in and does that, then the next people going in there will pick up on that. Now, they won't know, oh, there's a suicide, but they'll pick up there's a funny feeling. What's that feeling that I can actually pick up on? And it starts to kind of have an influence and an effect upon your own life. So people have told me, I've just come away from, just this morning, a painter decorator said to me he's been in houses where, he's painted it for people. The new couple go in, married couple go in. They last about 2 years and then they're out of there, divorced. Then another couple go in. They paint it over. It's not enough. All these property developers go in, they paint it and they think, oh, it's a different house from the one that we went into. Sure, it looks like, but it doesn't feel it. Because you're still dealing with the energetic patterns left behind. And in our case, and in the UK, for centuries, we have energetic patterns that have been there for decades and centuries of pain, of poverty, of anguish, of murder, all kinds have gone on. And, if people don't cleanse that, then you are walking into a cloak belonging to somebody else.
Yeah, like a soup.
It's a soup, an energetic soup, yeah. I actually bought a house in Canada in 2006. And it was a huge house, huge 6 bedrooms. No, there's only ever one owner. The one lady who owned it, she had adopted a son. And the energy of the house, I found out, it's always good to find out the history of who lived there before and what happened. This is a very good tip for anybody buying a house or buying anything, that's a form of property. What was their life and why did they leave?
Yeah.
These are good questions to ask because you'll find the energetic setup in there. The house, that was a beautiful house. Oh my goodness. It was stunning. It had 42 windows in it and over 1 million bricks. But there was a sadness there as well. And I only had it for 2 years, but there was a sadness there. And I think that, the energy between the son, the adopted son and the mother wasn't good.
Yeah.
So it took me a week to space cleanse that house.
Wow.
A week, because it was so big. But it's definitely worth having, and not just when you're moving into a house. If there's any kind of tragedy in the house, or if people are, there've been conflict, upset amongst a couple, space cleanse it the next day, and it soon dissipates that energetic setup.
Inner Feng Shui, day 3.
Yes, that's all about visualizations, going inside, discovering the many rooms that you have within yourself that can actually change your perceptions of who you think you are and how you see your own life.
I like the analogy you use about having these different windows and then you're cleaning them, because in a way, if you're in a Feng Shui, you perhaps in tandem with meditation, but you gain clarity.
Yeah.
You start to be able to see.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, they do say in Feng Shui, clean your windows inside and out, because that will be an indicator of what, when you look out, are you really seeing the opportunities for yourself?
Exactly.
And so in the inner Feng Shui, cleanse the eyes that you see out of, and symbolically the windows within your own self.
Yeah.
Cleanse them and see the rainbows, the crystals you're hanging from your inner windows, that they've got rainbows around them, and you're seeing unbelievable opportunities in every corner of the inner home.
Rainbows have come up a few times today, and what I wanted to say is I always used to tell people I collect rainbows and they thought I was a bit coco. But I used to take pictures. I don't take any pictures now. Apart from in the studio here today, I don't take any other pictures.
Okay.
But rainbows. And I tell everybody, when they see a rainbow, it's just for you. And they're like, what do you mean? But there'll be thousands of people stood around, but you have to be in the right place at the right time to see the light come through that rainbow. And if you're 100 feet that way, you can't necessarily see it. So it's just for you, that rainbow. It's like nature's little smile.
Yeah.
It's a miracle, just saying you're on the right path. And
it's true.
Whenever I saw a rainbow on, I think it was Sunday, I was driving, I saw a rainbow. And every time I see it, I just get this warm feeling. I smile inside and I think, thanks, because I just needed that. It uplifts me, makes me feel good.
Totally. Yeah.
What I was thinking is, maybe you could tell us, because I used to know some of these, I don't now, little tips. There's some, 5 tips when you're doing your Feng Shui, as we're working through the book, but I'll bring this up now. For example, not putting stuff under your bed, not putting a mirror behind a door, should and should nots. Maybe give us a few of those.
Yeah, you're right. Don't put things underneath your bed. Anything that's hanging over you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
A mirror in the bedroom. It creates an energy.
So not a mirrored ceiling then, no?
No, not a mirrored ceiling, not a mirror opposite.
I know.
I mean, people complain that they can't sleep and they've got too much stuff in the bedroom. The bedroom's not a place where they can retreat to and just become calm and relax and recharge their batteries. Don't have stuff behind the doors.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to have mirrors, and make sure that what the mirrors are duplicating is a positive image. Yeah.
So, for instance, which we'll get to in a minute, but if you have an area that represents your finances or your money in your house, putting a mirror in there or not putting a mirror in there depends. It could have a positive effect or a negative effect depending on the situation. Is that right?
And what you are duplicating in that mirror.
Right.
What's the image? What does the image say?
So I need to not look in mirrors then, don't I? I don't want to duplicate this.
Why not?
I'm just teasing. I'm just messing. So what are the 5 energies?
The 5 elements are 5 energies, and they are the foundation of Chinese medicine. And it's no different for Feng Shui. They represent, in Chinese medicine, they represent different organs in the body.
Right.
And if I can use the body as a explanation of Feng Shui as well, is that what we're trying to attain in Feng Shui is a flow. So it's important that our circulation in our body flows. It's only when there are blockages within our systems that people have a disease, whether it's thrombosis, embolism, blockages of the heart. People have to have amputations because there's, due to diabetes, to blockages in the flow of the circulation. So it's the same for your house. You want to have a flow so that there's nothing that's blocking it. So that comes on to the 5 elements then. We want 5, and the 5 energies can be represented by the 5 organs in the body, but we're talking about the 5 energies in and around your home. So the 5 energies are earth, water, metal, fire and wood. And they've each got a colour, and they each have got a timbre, a quality. And they also are in a cycle.
Yeah.
So what we want to say is we want a little bit of each. It's like, I'll put it a different way.
Balance, all about balance.
It's about balance.
Somebody told me that the other day and reminded me. They said, balance, balance,
It's
balance.
totally it. And some people think, oh no, but balance is boring. Sometimes people have to go out of their comfort zone. Like, they have to have more metal to be able to be creative or get things done in terms of writing a book. But you've always got to be able to come back to the centre and balance. Otherwise, this is where people's health is taken out, their wealth is taken out, their relationships are taken out because they didn't have balance. And it's a cycle. So it's like having 5 personalities. So you've always got the person who, metal, they're an analyzer. They're always thinking, overthinking. We need to do this and we can do that. And that's the metal element, always thinking. And there's 2 aspects to that metal, a yang and a yin. They could be quietly thinking, or they could be really out there shouting ideas. Then there's the wood. Or let me do it in a cycle. So then there's the water element. And that's the person who's emotional. And they can be very deep or they can be very shallow. So then there's the wood element, the person who's flexible and can go this way or that way and is into growth. And then the fiery person, the fire element, dynamic, passionate, expressive. And then there's the earth element, grounded, calm.
These are the same in the Vedic, aren't they? Like your fire would be your pitta. And
yes,
so on.
yeah, you've got that.
Yeah.
So, and then each is assigned a colour. So what I'm saying is, it's dependent on you, what the balance of the 5 elements you need in your life. Because you may be, say, a metal person, but I'm a fire person. So what my needs are will be different from your needs.
You might need more water.
I might
need more fire or whatever.
Well, there's a cycle. So one feeds the other. So when you understand the cycle, then you can see what more that person needs. But what I do generally is that I think everyone needs a little bit of each to keep them on a balance. And they may need 1 or 2 more than the others. But that's what I teach. I actually have taught on this course is that, what does a fire element look like? So we're looking at red. We're looking at red vases, red lamps, red tablecloths. What does a metal element look like? We're looking at crystals, things made from metal. So they then can subsequently demonstrate these and tell a story in their own home and code it with the messages that they want in their own environment.
I write in the book about trying to remove the extremes out of your life and find what I call a sustainable rhythm. So you've got this rather than extreme, angry and then down and depressed and then overweight and then slim and on it. What you want is this sustainable rhythm. It's this balance that we're all trying to find. And I find if I do meditation, yoga, exercise, my diet, there'll be various things, and I'm always trying to get them in a balance, and then I'll get 4 in and then 1 will pop out and I'll go off my diet, so then I'll bring that back in and I'll not meditate.
That's it.
It's getting that balance.
Life is
just
about
right.
balancing yourself, and managing yourself. People say, what business are you in? I'm in my business, the business of managing me. And that is what Feng Shui is also about. You are in the business of managing your own space, both on the inside and the outside. And how you do that is through the colours, is through the design, it's through the qualities of those different 5 elements. And I've just finished recording about teaching people how to bring in each of those elements through aroma. How do you create a fiery aroma where you need to be active, you need to kind of be passionate or upmarket, what oils do I need to blend them in to burn them and create an atmosphere of fire, passion.
Is this, when you say recording, is this the course you were saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I love it because I love the oils.
Yeah.
And once you've given people the apparatus to know how to blend them, then they can start to ask themselves. And this is self-education. It's like, I need to calm down. I need to be grounded. So I need to build myself an earth blend. So I talk about what's in the earth blends. But you might need a little bit of, a bit of uplifting as well as grounding. So what would you put in as a fire oil, and what would you put in as a grounding oil? Or maybe you need to grow your ideas and become more flexible. So you maybe a wood element. So you have wood oils, but you need a little bit of, upliftingness. So you bring in a bit of fire oil. And so it goes. And I've had people across the planet have stopped me and said, what is that blend?
Smells are very powerful.
Yeah, they're very powerful.
For lots of reasons. One, it's certain smells I can drift off and I become in a meditative state and they're beautiful. Others offend me. Really offend me,
right. Yeah.
And also, I think they're very powerful for triggering emotion, like
Definitely.
music, and
Yes.
also memories
Yes,
as well.
I've written about that.
Yeah, I've written about it too.
Yeah.
That we don't realise, specifically, a smell can trigger childhood memories. I know that for a fact. Memories that have they're gone. They don't exist. They're buried deep. And a certain smell can be, and it can trigger these feelings and memories.
Well, remember I told you about being the 3-year-old in the nursery?
Yes.
Well, if I smell custard to this day,
Yeah.
it brings and triggers up all the feelings of them forcing custard down me. I couldn't eat it. So the smell of custard, whilst it's everyone's lovely treat, I couldn't be around the aroma of custard.
Yeah.
And so I learned about the aromas from a very early age. And I know how they impact upon people's emotions, their feelings. And that's why it's in people's best interest to actually get themselves a beautiful aroma that they've created for themselves.
Yeah.
And they become the wizards of their own aromas.
In a similar way, but
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer always talks about St. Francis of Assisi, and he's had experience of him and contact with him, in a spirit sense, and he always got the smell of roses, But when I was a child, depending on where I was, I lived in Africa when I was a child, and then we went, I travelled around a bit, but in Africa, the bread was quite distinct, the smell of the bread. Also, with my family being heavily Irish, they used to have Irish bread, certain types
Soda
of
bread.
yes, certain types
Irish
of bread.
soda bread, yes.
And that smell as well, and very distinct. And from different smells of bread, I can identify the bread, but also that triggers my childhood memories. Certainly in Africa, there's a very distinct smell of bread. But
How amazing! Well, it triggers memories of me because I was brought up with an Irish background as well.
Yeah.
So soda bread was definitely up there, along with the Guinness.
Well, yeah, that was often smelt, wasn't it? Yeah. So I'm going to ask you another question, Cathi, before I get into day 5. This is just really for the people at home. I'm just going to, if they haven't got this yet or they're not getting it, basically, you can have a problem, for example, with your love life, and then you can find out what area of your house is connected with that, which we'll get into a bagua shortly. You can then clear the clutter, clear the space clearing, rearrange things to redirect and help the energy flow around in those areas, and then, hey presto, the things that you were struggling with and you couldn't deal with on a conscious level, like your love life, for example, will start to change. It's a real phenomena. I've experienced it. You can change your external environment, and then the things all the blockages and energies start to move. Have I got that right?
Well, I can only take on board the feedback I've got
Yes.
from what I've been teaching and implementing. And one lady, she said, when I cleared all my clutter, she said, I discovered the dreams that I'd had and I'd forgotten all about them. And now she's living them.
Yeah. I don't think until you try this for yourself, and what have you got to lose? You don't realise the power, how powerful these practices can be and what they can do.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
can change all the stuff you can't deal with, the stuff that you may not even know what it is, what's wrong.
That's true. That's true.
know.
Yeah.
This
It's,
practice, and by following these steps and using Feng Shui, you can change your life.
I did say in the book as well that if 7 days is not a possibility because everyone's got a different timetable, then they could actually do it even on a weekly basis. So for the first week, you spend a week,
Yeah.
because some people live in big houses, it take a week for them to clear their clutter. Or even people who are in a 1-bedroom apartment, the intensity of what they have to clear is huge. They could take a week doing that and then focus a week on space cleansing it, and then so on. So
Yeah.
I have said that, it is manoeuvrable in terms of,
So it's a 7-step process.
It is really.
It fits into a
it
week
is,
because
it
there's 7
does,
days,
yeah.
but it could be 7 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely.
So day 5, and then you're into something which I've done lots of, a vision board. So maybe just give us a brief synopsis of
Okay.
that.
Well, it's not like any other vision board where you just put up pictures that you think, oh, well, I like that, that's where I want to go, or
Yeah.
that's what I want to have. It's actually in accordance with what's called the Low Shu Square, LOSHU Square. And this is an ancient system, 4,000 years old,
Yeah.
where the 9 boxes are inhabited by 9 numbers. Each number goes in a direction, and the direction it goes, when you follow it, leaves behind a pattern, and that pattern is the planet of Saturn. And that pattern is telling you that on your journey from number 1 to 9, you are going to tell a story about your life. This is a direction of something that you're going to learn. You don't know what that is yet, but you're going to learn some lessons along the way. So from number 1 to number 9, each box is representing an aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And each box is housing a different element. One of the elements I've already spoken about. Some are yin, some are yang. I explain that. And as I teach it, I get people to get there, you can have a chart like this, or a cork board, put it into 9 boxes. And for each box, I start with number 1. And that number 1 is the water element, so you're going to be flowing. And number 1 is about where do you want your life to flow to? And for each box, I do a visualization, or almost like a hypnotization of where people, how do they want to feel about where they want to flow to? What does the picture look like?
Yeah.
And I get them to bring that picture outside and write it down, so that they can go then and go and get a picture or 2 pictures that actually epitomise what they've seen within themselves. I'm not telling them what to see, because it's not my life.
Yeah.
And then we move on to number 2, which is the relationship area. And then 3, 4, and so on.
Yeah.
And each box, I explain to them the kind of picture, the kind of element or energy in this box, and the direction of their life. What are the kind of pictures that they need to be looking at in order to, well, first of all, it should have the energy in the energy or the element in it. But say for your health, how are you going to depict your health?
Day 6, and you use the term a coded plan of your house, which would be, from what I've read with Karen Kingston, is the Bagua.
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you can show us what you've got there. I'll explain my experience of it. And what you'd do is you'd draw your house, and they'd then tell you how to orientate it, where your front door would go. And you'd put this plan over it. And each one of these plans has the house split into boxes, and each box identifies a different area of your life. It could be your love life, your finances, your health. And then you see where your clutter is, identify the clutter might be in this room, and then when you put the grid over the top of it, it might be your health, for example, and you know that's an area you need to work on, something along those lines. Now yours looks far more fancy-dancy.
If your place is in a mess, then you don't want to be putting anything there to change it. Your job, as in the listener, is to clear the clutter first. This is a grid. It's a code. It's a secret code. These are all codes. Now, I can't go into these trigrams here. So when we come to the Bagua, all your clutter shall have gone by then. You will have cleared all your energetic debris. You will have looked inside yourself and cleared the clutter within yourself. You will have understood the 5 elements, because you're going to actually bring those 5 energies in and around your home so that you get a balance. And then you've done your vision board. You've already know what you want because you've gone and got the photographs on your vision board. So when you've done the vision board, you're going to superimpose that onto your home or your room. And you will be doing that in accordance with the directions on that secret coded template, and also with the knowledge you have of your own vision board. Now you've got more information about yourself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start putting signatures or symbols or messages encoded into your space subtly. No one else needs to know. And I show people how they can do that subtly, so that when people come in, they don't know, oh, that's where she's going in her life, or, that's who she wants to have a relationship with. It's done subtly. So that when you walk into your house or your home, the messages that you're reading are the messages that you have set up. You've set up your code so that you are living the life that you desire, and not the life that's being broadcasted from the square box in the corner, which is telling you that you need to be this, and you need to do this, and you need to have this, and you're not good enough. No. That now that you've put this code in, you're telling yourself a story, and you want to ask yourself, what is that story? Because this is your life.
Awesome. So, day 7, and this is power hubs. Yeah. Now, I've no idea where you're going with this one. I don't.
Okay.
This is maybe explained. There was a little insight into that.
Okay. So power hubs are significant areas in your own home that have a huge effect upon your quality of life, from your health to your visibility and to your relationships, really, and your wealth.
Yeah.
So health is your wealth.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at 3 areas. One is the entrance. So I'm talking in the book about you set up a fantastic entrance for yourself. Immediately, that's going to elevate your energy. So people coming home from work, and they're putting the key through the door, and there's rubbish around the doorstep, or there's nothing that is a signature there for you. It's not saying anything. So I talk about having positive plants, colours, making sure that the any brass on the door is shining, that there's any glass on there, that there's a beautiful colour shining through it.
Yeah.
These are all important aspects, because it's about having curb appeal. And when you come home, your spirits are going up. They're not going, oh no, back home again. The drab place that I live in. And the entrance should be saying something about you. Who lives here now? I lived in a place in Manchester, and I moved in, and within a space of months, all down the street, they all started changing their entrances. Why?
Right.
Well, I put up a chime at the front, quiet chime. I started putting 2 beautiful lapis lazuli planters with pink geraniums. I had some other bushes around there and painted the front door. There was a sign above it, a bagua, which is a protective aspect. But you can have all kinds. The Greeks use the evil eye. The Keralans in India, they use a particular symbol. So anyone can use their own symbols as a protector.
So you created this lovely entrance, a nice
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
visually as well as energetic, and,
Yeah.
and then people started to copy it.
Yeah, they did. But it was great. I was happy
Yeah.
because people were taking pride in where they lived.
And so which are the other two power hubs then?
So
'Cause-
the other one is the kitchen,
Right.
because what people have in the kitchen is what they're eating. And what they're eating determines the quality of their health. And the quality of your health determines the quality of your wealth. I know people have lots of problems with what they've got stored in their cupboards. So I have mentioned it in the book about, becoming organised in terms of throwing out certain foods you know can't afford to eat anymore because they're poisonous.
Yeah.
And other foods where if you have it like a little bit of a fancy for certain foods, just create a small space for a small amount of that. Don't completely eradicate it from you, because then you start to feel you're living in a prison. And ensuring that all the water works. This is something I haven't talked about with the elements. The water element is very important in terms of your wealth. So if you've got blockages, if you've got floods, drip, drip, drip taps, problems with gutters, sort it out right away. Why? Because the flow is blocked and water represents your money.
Right.
So if that's being blocked or it's being flooded away, your money is being lost as well.
There must be a big hole full of water near my house then.
So that's the water. But I also want to talk about the wood, that if you've got plants in your house, this is very important for your health. So ensuring that the plants are happy, they're watered, they're fed, they talk to the plants, because that actually makes you feel that you're growing with them. So there's a kind of a relationship going on there.
I mean, I believe anyway, if you talk to plants, forgetting
Yeah.
the science and that you're breathing out in carbon dioxide and they breathe that in.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I believe with your intention, if you make food but you intend and you put love into that food, the food tastes better.
Yes,
you
it
know,
does,
and same with the plants, if you care for them and love them and you're tender with the plants, they thrive.
So in the kitchen as well, I was talking about, what pictures have you got up there? Make sure that they're not the pictures of people enjoying themselves, that they're coming together, or pictures of nature, something positive. And also, or if you've got a mirror there, a mirror will duplicate the food on the table, because food was wealth. Now everyone's got food, although I'm sure there are certain more and more problems I hear. But, if people had a bowl of rice, that was indicative of wealth.
Yeah.
And rice is still used today in weddings in Asia, because it's indicative of welcoming the wealth into that relationship.
Yeah. I mean, still here as well. They throw it over people, don't they?
They throw it over at weddings. I use it as a space cleanser.
Yeah.
So put that all around the skirting boards, and it absorbs any energy that's got blocked, and then you just hoover it up and throw it out.
So, Cathi, this book then. Tell us the title of your book again, the full title.
7 Days to Transform Your Life. How to Discipline Your Space for Health, Wealth and Love.
So, if somebody wanted to get this book, it's available on Amazon.
Yes, it's available on Amazon, and you can also purchase it on my website.
So if somebody wanted to find you on social media, I know you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram and Facebook. Your largest accounts being on Facebook and Instagram. And it's wealthyspaces.com, or they can find your name as well, Cathi Hargaden. Yes?
Yeah.
Magic. So they've got your website where you can find you, your social media channels, and your book on Amazon.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe just tell us one last question here. The course that you've just done, for example, that is then an audio course you've been recording. Is that correct?
Video course.
A video course.
Yeah.
Where did they find that? How would somebody do your course? Is that just through your website?
Yeah, everything now is going through my website. I was going through other channels, but now everything's going to be up on the wealthyspaces.com, the shop. It will be underneath that.
How many parts is that course in? How does it work?
That's a video course, and I'll be following similarly the 7 steps with some extras, some bonuses in there. And there's also a very basic course I've done that's available as well, but it's not as developed as this one, because this is to go with the book.
So, Cathi, outside of that, if somebody's been to your website and they've seen you on Facebook and stuff, maybe tell us what else you do.
Okay, so I also offer consultations. Now, with the circumstances that we're all in at the moment, I have done some on Zoom and some on Skype. So I'm looking into people's homes and what they show me.
Yeah.
So it's possible to do it that way. But I actually like to feel as well. So I do consultations when it's possible to go and visit people's homes.
Yeah.
And what I do is show up what they need to do for their clutter, the space clearing. They can learn all this on the course, or I can tell them what they need to do. They can get the space clearing kit from me if they don't know where to buy the goods from. But what I will do is I will assess their home with information that I get from the person in the house,
Right.
in terms of their date of birth. And from that information, and from what I can see, and from what I can feel, and what the person has told me, and the areas that they've told me they want to focus on, I will then write a report which tells the person what they need to do, what process they need to do, and how to go about it.
Okay, fabulous. Fabulous. Cathi, thank you again. And it's been fascinating. Thank you. So, folks, this week I'm going to leave you with 3 quotes that I thought were relevant to this show. The first one is, the present moment has a round window. Anybody with sides can't get in. This means that you need to practice non-judgment. If you say this is right and this is wrong and you become rigid, you'll find it very difficult to be fully present and in the moment. So the present moment has a round window and anything with sides can't get in. The second one is related to energy, which is what we've been talking about with Cathi. And anything you focus on, you feed and move towards it. Anything you focus on, you feed and move towards it. Be very careful what you put in here, because you will not only move towards it, but it will expand and grow. And the third quote is, in order to fix something, first you must take a look inside. If you want to fix a watch or a clock, you need to open it up and have a look inside. And this is what we do with the practice of meditation, and also with Feng Shui as well. All 3 quotes are from Midnight McBride, from Pills to Peace. Well, you can listen to this show every week on YouTube. We're going back to 2 shows a week as of last week. So we're back up to 2 shows a week again. You can also then 3 days later listen to this show as an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify and Podbean. You can catch me on the radio every Monday night on Salford City Radio 94.4 FM with the Mind, Body and Spirit show, midnight till midnight. You can also buy the book on Amazon, and it's available in ebook and also as a paperback, and now an audio book as well. You can also check me out on my website, midnightmcbride.com, and you can get me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn. Whew. I always struggle with that bit. There we go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Shalom.